Okay, if you've recently gotten a sketchy text message or one of those deeply frustrating scam phone calls, the people on the other end of that line might just be caught up in a massive regional sweep. Let's jump right into this explainer and unpack a huge question dominating the headlines right now. Why exactly did Laos just crack down on 130 Thai admins? It is an absolutely fascinating story of shifting borders, organized crime, and a major regional pushback.
So what kicked off this whole regional shift? Well, the catalyst was a sudden, massive arrest of Thai citizens right in the heart of the Lao capital, Vientiane. You know, we're so used to hearing about shady scam operations hiding out in remote, kind of lawless border zones, right? So a highly coordinated strike right in a major capital city, that signaled a bold, major escalation by Lao authorities.
And exactly 130 is the number of Thai admins deported in just one recent, highly publicized sweep. According to immigration police, these folks were caught secretly running 6 different online gambling websites. They were holed up in rented residential rooms right next to the St. Vegas casino in Vientiane, literally working around the clock until the authorities swooped in and dismantled the whole operation.
Now, you might be wondering, were these workers coerced? Actually, the reality is strictly transactional. These 130 individuals willingly crossed the border through completely normal, legal channels. They were lured in by a steady cash flow of about 400 baht a day, or up to 18,000 baht a month. For them, that was enough to justify sitting in a rented room, pulling grueling 12-hour shifts just to manage illegal betting platforms.
Section 1. Why move the base to Laos?
Here's the really crazy part about these 130 admins. Vientiane wasn't even their first choice. They were basically forced there by tightening regional security. Investigations showed that a huge chunk of these workers had previously operated their gambling sites across a completely different border, down in Cambodia. But when conditions changed, they had to pack up, cross back into Thailand, and then migrate north into Laos to restart their 24/7 digital operations. They're essentially digital nomads, just for the criminal underworld.
And this migration didn't just happen out of nowhere. Back in late 2025, severe security clashes led to strict border closures between Thailand and Cambodia. Then, moving into mid-2026, famous border checkpoints like Popet temporarily shut down their e-visa entries. This was a total logistical nightmare that effectively choked off their traditional base in Cambodia, literally pushing these syndicates to find a new, supposedly quieter haven up in Laos.
Section 2. The domino crackdown nationwide.
But here's the thing. As these operations sifted north, Lao and Thai authorities were already preparing a coordinated response. That Vientiane bust of our 130 admins, it wasn't just a lucky, isolated strike. It triggered a massive domino effect. First came the casino bust, then authorities tracked down another 67 nationals linked to those old Cambodian operations, and most recently, a sweep of 41 more admins over at the Nong Khai border. Since early 2026, we are talking about a total of over 480 individuals transferred back to Thailand.
I really need to highlight a crucial detail here. When these groups cross back into Thailand, they're met by this multidisciplinary team of police, social services, and labor officials. Their rigorous screening confirmed that these admins were not forced laborers. There was absolutely no human trafficking involved in these specific batches. They were 100% willing participants in illegal employment, perfectly aware of what they were doing for a paycheck.
Let's zoom out a bit further from Vientiane, because the rabbit hole goes way deeper. 267. That is the staggering number of fraudulent call centers completely shut down by Bokyo provincial authorities up in the Golden Triangle Special Economic Zone. So the crackdown isn't just happening in the capital, it is sweeping aggressively through the special economic zones too. Just look at the sheer multinational scale of the criminal machinery operating in the Golden Triangle. It's wild. Across 9 massive operations, authorities arrested people from 16 different nationalities. Chinese and Vietnamese nationals were immediately sent home, local Lao workers were warned and dismissed, and now a massive 250-person task force is actively tearing down the remaining 16 shell companies. We are witnessing an unprecedented institutional cleanup here.
Section 3. Thailand and Laos joining hands.
So, you might be asking, how did this crackdown gain so much momentum so quickly? It definitely wasn't an accident. It was the direct result of high-level geopolitical alignment that traces right back to October 2025. That's when agreements between the Thai and Lao prime ministers formalized a real commitment to tackle transnational crime. By January 2026, military and border units were actually out there conducting joint river patrols. That groundwork is exactly what paved the way for the massive handovers we're seeing today.
And they aren't just talking, they're actually executing on this. They've launched regular joint river patrols and set up direct contacts with international anti-scam centers. Crucially, as they process groups like those 130 admins from VNTN, they're throwing them onto strict monitoring watch lists. The whole goal is to make sure these guys can't just easily leave the country and start the whole scheme over again.
Section 4. Is this the end of transnational crime gangs?
With regional forces united like this and hundreds of people sent home, are we finally seeing the final chapter for these syndicates? Honestly, it's highly complex. Even with over 480 deportations and hundreds of bases dismantled, the cross-border nature of digital crime makes these organizations incredibly adaptable. All they truly need is a Wi-Fi connection, a rented room, and cheap labor. To them, strict border enforcement is often just a logistical speed bump to bypass.
So, I want to leave you with this provocative thought to wrap up our explainer. As the net closes tighter in Southeast Asia, and traditional havens in Cambodia and Laos crack down in absolute unison with Thailand, how long until these digital outlaws find a brand new haven? The region is definitely fighting back, and fighting back hard, but the game of digital whack-a-mole is far from over. We'll definitely need to keep a close eye on this space.